Afternoon, y'all. It's Joe again, coming to you from the carport of clutter and chaos. No shade tree today. It's too windy out to do a whole lot, but what I need to get done is start getting this engine block ready to assemble for the daughter's Jeep. So XJ is going to go ahead and get a new heart, and I'm fixing to go ahead and start in on the working out here. There's our transplant candidate. Just ready and waiting. Okay, so here's what we're dealing with. It's a virgin block, but it's had a little bit of hard living. Not horrible, not bad, but throw the dingle ball home through there, clean these cylinder walls up, and we should be pretty good. You can see all these scuffs in here already where I went ahead and had the glaze breaker in, trying to go ahead and clean things up. Of course, now the crank's out of it, and got a little bit more room to go ahead and work and get all this cleaned up and ready to go. Alrighty, so I used an old sock. I went ahead and wiped the cylinder walls down, got all the old dust that's collected off of the inside of them, just because it's been sitting out here. It's been windy because it's Oklahoma in springtime. But got the oil and dust and stuff out of the cylinder walls. Now I'm getting ready to go ahead and hone with my favorite drill. This old Craftsman I picked up, oh geez, back, oh hell, probably 1993 when I was working at Sears in the auto center. What I like about this one is this little dial right here. You can slow the drill down and kind of control it a little bit. Even when it's running, it's going to be too fast to go ahead. If I max it out, it'll be too fast to go ahead and get a good accurate crosshatch, but it's a whole lot easier to control that way. So anyway, I can't go ahead and video and hone at the same time, so we're just gonna have to go ahead and deal with it, and I'll show you the end result here in a little bit. Okay, I don't know if you can see this or not, but I'm just starting to get some crosshatch in this first cylinder. I've been doing it for just a minute or so, 2 minutes, and obviously it's going to take more time, but I think I've got the speed and the pattern down now to what I need to do. I just need to go ahead and keep it up and get after it some more. But I think these cylinders are going to clean up pretty nice once it's all done. And then of course I'll go ahead and oil everything back up to protect it until I go ahead and get this engine assembled up. And probably throw a big old contractor bag over top of it for the time being, just keep all the crud out. Alrighty, so choice of oil makes a difference too. Let me show you what I got going on here. I started out with just transmission oil, and let's see here. This is, I don't know if you can see it, but this is using Ingersoll Rand Air Tool oil as opposed to transmission oil. I noticed there was more friction when I was going ahead and running the hone, and it seems to be doing a better job of cutting through and getting into the cylinder wall, making a more defined crosshatch pattern. I haven't finished wiping this out yet because I'm still doing more, but I just wanted to go ahead and wipe it off a little bit, see how I'm doing, and kind of show you what's going on with this. This stuff's right here seems to be actually some pretty good lube to go ahead and hone with. It's working out quite well, and I'm getting a pretty decent pattern in here. And get my light again. But it's working better than transmission fluid, I think. Let's see here. Well, can't really see it now because the oil's been running down, but you can kind of see what I'm getting. So I think it's going to work out quite well. And just to go ahead and cheat and not make a mess all over the floor in the shit show shop, I got the oil pan kind of hanging here to go ahead and catch the drippage. Okay, so here we go. This is cylinder number 1. I've washed it down with some WD-40 after going ahead and wiping it. And I mean, you can kind of really check out the texture in there now. That crosshatch really looks good from my perspective anyway. I think it's going to work out quite nicely. Fresh set of rings, fresh standard size pistons, should be good to go. Okay, I'm going to try this on the tripod just a little bit. They say the key to going ahead and getting a good crosshatch is to match the speed of the plunge with the speed of the drill motor. That's about as much as I can slow down that drill motor and have it work effectively. So this is what I've been doing. I just keep doing one cylinder until my shoulders start to ache, and I move on to the next after I take a break. I think that's about as much plunging as you want to watch me doing, because any other kind of plunging, gets kind of personal. They say the key to going ahead and getting a good crosshatch is to match the speed of the plunge with the speed of the drill motor. About as much as I can slow down that drill motor and have it work effectively. So this is what I've been doing. I just keep doing one cylinder until my shoulders start to ache, and I move on to the next after I take a break. I think that's about as much plunging as you want to watch me doing, because any other kind of plunging, gets kind of personal. Just to match the speed of the plunge with the speed of the drill motor. About as much as I can slow down that drill motor and have it work effectively. So this is what I've been doing. I just keep doing one cylinder until my shoulders start to ache, and I move on to the next after I take a break. I think that's about as much plunging as you want to watch me doing, because any other kind of plunging, gets kind of personal. Okay, so like I said, the crosshatch pattern is obtained by matching the speed of the rotation of the drill with the up and down plunging motion, going ahead and clearing out the cylinders. At this point, I think I showed you what the cylinders look like to start with. You can see at the bottom there was some glaze down at the bottom. You can see with the outline of the skirt of the piston on all the cylinders, just where obviously the piston doesn't travel. With the crank out of the block like it is, I can go ahead and do all the cylinders full depth, and so it's breaking all that glaze off. These cylinders are going to look very, very fresh. I mean, not quite so fresh as what you get from a machine shop if you went ahead and have the block bored and honed, but at least go ahead and just have the cylinders honed up. They'll match up nicely with the new pistons, new rings. So that's where I'm going with this. This thing, I'm going to go ahead and wipe it down once I'm done, and then depending on what the weather is doing again tomorrow, I imagine it's still supposed to be windy. So when I get home from work, depending on how I feel after going in at 3 o'clock tomorrow morning and then getting off 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, I may go ahead and take the pressure washer to it and clean it all out again, and then start hanging the, I can put the crank and the cam in at that point, and then go ahead and start installing pistons. But we'll see how it goes. The first thing to do is get it pressure washed and dried back out again. And of course that's going to take time. I want to make sure it's good and dry before I start putting new crank and new camshaft and new bearings, because, you know, why put water to it and destroy it? Anyway, that's what we got going on today. Okay, so this block sat with some oil, or excuse me, sat with some water in a couple of the cylinders for a while, and I managed to go ahead and get all of the staining and whatnot out of the cylinder walls. I'm still working on number 6 back here, and if you can look closely, you can see the wave pattern from the expander on the oil control rings. It's just stained into the cylinder wall right there. There's no defect to it. You can't feel it, but it's a stain just the same. And I'm going to see if I can go ahead and get that out while I finish honing this one. But other than that, everybody else is looking really good. Let's see here. I've kind of wiped these down a little bit. It's not perfect. There's still some residue, as you can see from me wiping it down. It's not like perfectly clean yet, but you can see what these cylinder walls are looking like now compared to what they were at the beginning. So anyway, that's where we're at. Like I said, I've been working on these last 2. You can still see there's oil and residue on this one, and that one I just wiped. Just going to try and go ahead and see what the status is on that stain, but it's getting better. Is to match the speed of the plunge with the speed of the drill motor. About as much as I can slow down that drill motor and have it work effectively. So this is what I've been doing. I just keep going one cylinder until my shoulders start to ache, and I move on to the next after I take a break. I think that's about as much plunging as you want to watch me doing, because any other kind of plunging, you know, gets kind of personal.